This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by our friends over at McCabe Law, LLC of Portland, Maine. Chris McCabe and his team of lawyers and industry experts can handle everything your legal cannabis business needs, from license to lease and from seed to sale. If you need a legal marijuana expert in either Maine or Massachusetts, then McCabe Law should be one of your first calls. Swing over to McCabeLawLLC.com to learn more. That's MCCABE LawLLC.com. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Monday, October 9th, 2017, and you're tuned in to episode 347 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Our top story of the day is the big uptick in the amount of marijuana plants seized by agents from the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration in 2016, which grew 20% over the total haul from the year before. In all, the DEA is taking claim to uprooting more than 5.3 million cannabis plants in 2016, where they nabbed around 4.25 million the year before that. 97% of the plants uprooted by DEA agents last year were from outdoor grows, with the vast majority, around 71%, coming from California, followed distantly by Kentucky and Texas. The agency is tying 5,657 arrests to their cannabis eradication work and stole around $52 million in assets via civil assets forfeiture, otherwise known as government-sanctioned theft by the government. Swing over to NORML's blog to find links to all the year's data broken down by state, as well as past year's statistics. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com and on our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily. Tom Angel over at Marijuana Moment has a great breakdown of the various approaches to marijuana policy reform taken by the major gubernatorial candidates in New Jersey and Virginia, which will both be holding elections for their top offices next month. Like most of Tom's pieces, this one is deeply researched and linked with lots of examples of tweets and past comments about cannabis law. If you have interest in either one of those two states, there's a lot on the line in terms of cannabis policy in next month's elections, so probably not a bad idea to swing over for the full read on this one either. Our final top story of the day is the new billboards going up in the state of Massachusetts today for a company operating 2 of the state's medical marijuana dispensaries. New England Treatment Access is unveiling 4 roadside billboards today, asking drivers by a simple question: why wait for better health? Followed by their website. The billboards are located on the Mass Turnpike near Exit 5 in Chicopee, on Route 28 in Somerville, and near the Mass Ave exit off 93 in Boston. The graphically sparse ads are designed to be benign as possible and to adhere to the state's strict rules governing how medical marijuana companies can advertise. I'm not a big fan of roadside advertising and consider myself very lucky to live in a state where the practice is actually banned, but I'm glad to see legal cannabis pushing the bounds of normalcy in this situation. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz it in headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, McCabe Law, LLC of Portland, Maine, for their support. If you're looking to get into the legal marijuana industry in Maine or Massachusetts, or maybe you're already there and just need some help expanding or pivoting, then McCabe Law LLC should be one of your first calls. There are a lot of I's to dot and T's to cross in legal marijuana, and as regular listeners know, things are especially complicated in our world given how the federal government still treats cannabis. This is a business that you do not want to miss any necessary checked boxes in. When you work with a team of pros like McCabe Law of Portland, Maine, to start and grow your legal marijuana business, you're not only helping to protect your financial bottom line, but you're also doing everything you can to protect your legal bottom line. Find out more about McCabe Law and get in touch over at McCabeLawLLC.com. That's MCCABE LawLLC.com. All right, time for the Blitz. The state of Oregon is starting to distribute some of the millions of dollars collected from its legal marijuana industry through taxes and fees, with more than $100 million in all going into state coffers between January of 2016 and August of this year. Of the $108.6 million to be given out to state entities, a little under $10 million will go to the Oregon Liquor Control Commission to fund their operations, $34 million will go to state schools, $17 million to health, drug, and alcohol counseling services, $12.75 million to the state police, and cities and counties will each split around $17 million each. One of the beautiful things about Oregon state law is that cities and towns that vote to ban legal marijuana sales are blocked from getting any cannabis tax money generated after July 1st of this year. As the state of Arkansas works to implement medical marijuana, the more conservative culture of that state continues to make for some interesting news stories, including a good piece in the Texarkana Gazette about the one single doctor in the city of Texarkana who's publicly admitting to seeing patients about medical marijuana. As you might not be surprised to hear, that doctor is making it clear that he's going to be very strict about how he recommends medical cannabis, saying that he'll actually be stricter than state law by requiring patients to come in already diagnosed by another doctor with an official qualifying condition. Dr. Joseph Parker told the Gazette that he was reluctant at first to get involved with legal cannabis, but, quote, "As doctors, you have to look at using the safest medication possible to relieve someone's suffering," unquote. Let's hope that sentiment spreads quickly in Arkansas. Mass Live has a good story up about a push by Massachusetts farmers for the right to get involved with their state's nascent adult use and medical cannabis industries. Under the state's marijuana laws, smaller-scale cultivators will be able to organize into larger cooperatives to take advantage of all the business perks of scale. But like nearly everything in Massachusetts' legal cannabis industry, the rules and details for how it will work are being hammered out right now. So I'd suggest opening up Mass Live for the full read on this one. Gage Peak over at Leafly pulled together some great tableau graphs showing the various gender and racial demographic breakdowns of Maryland's medical marijuana industry. Specifically, Gage's story slices up the numbers behind both the workers and business owners of licensed cultivators, processors, and dispensaries, as well as the industry as a whole. If you're into the Maryland scene, this is a good one to read in full, as Gage points out that the state is the only one in the nation required to post demographic data from its legal cannabis industry. The MTL blog is reporting that Canada Post, the Canadian version of our own U.S. Postal Service, say they plan on delivering marijuana via the mail as soon as it's legal to do so, starting sometime next summer, as that nation moves towards coast-to-coast legalization. A Canada Post representative said that they were already set up to check the identification and qualifying age of marijuana recipients, given that they do the same now for alcohol delivery. On Friday, California Governor Jerry Brown vetoed 2 bills that would have banned people from smoking marijuana in a park or at the beach. In his veto statement, the governor wrote, quote, "If people can't smoke even on a deserted beach, where can they? There must be some limit to the coercive power of government," unquote. And finally for today, the Flathead Beacon has an interesting story up about how the California flower industry is being disrupted by a number of factors, one of which is flower cultivators converting over to grow legal cannabis. As the financials behind growing legal cannabis start to look better than growing conventional flowers, more traditional flower-growing greenhouses are being transformed into cannabis grow sites, forcing flower shops and dealers to look for supply from out-of-state and overseas markets. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. A quick reminder before we go, we're publishing our show at a later 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a few more weeks now so I can finish up my annual fall ritual of teaching a bunch of middle school kids how to play Ultimate Frisbee. We'll be back at our normal time of 11 a.m. sometime near the end of the month. If you really can't stand not getting your news earlier than that, I'd suggest subscribing to our newsfeed email newsletter, which still goes out by 7 a.m. Eastern Standard with all 50 or so industry headlines that pop up in a normal day. It's the news spring from which this show is created and is a great way to make sure you're seeing all the things you need to be seeing. Just open up mjtodaymedia.com/newsfeed to subscribe. That's mjtodaymedia.com/newsfeed. Thanks to our sponsor, McCabe Law LLC, and to all of our awesome Patreon listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the Patreon listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in, starting your day with marijuana today.
One take, Shay. One take.